5 months of bloody conflict in Ukraine has reshaped the world order.
A brutal, draining, horrendous war.
But is anyone actually winning? After Ukraine's fight back around Kyiv in the early weeks, Russia is slowly taking ground in the east.
Ukrainians have been mauled in Donbass.
But Kyiv says they're ready to strike back.
Ukraine will definitely win this war.
Zelensky wants Russia out of Ukraine. Putin wants the Donbass and more if he can take it. So can either claim a decisive victory. Russian forces have seized key cities in eastern Ukraine in recent weeks.
From a military perspective, Russia is winning right now.
But it's come at a cost. Russia has only confirmed 1,350 soldiers have been killed way back in March. The number today is believed to be in the tens of thousands. And they've suffered huge losses of military hardware too, including tanks, armoured vehicles, helicopters, and crucial supply line vehicles. To counter these losses, Moscow has had to deploy decades-old Soviet hardware and raise the age of military service from 40 to 65 years old. It's even been reported that prisoners are being offered money and their freedom to fight.
Their conscription efforts are failing, but they are also using a lot of proxies. They're using the Chechens. They're using the separatists there from Donetsk and Luhansk.
Russia has adapted. Without skilled personnel for rapid offences on the ground, they're relying on artillery to flatten everything in their path. Ukraine is firmly on the defensive and cracks are starting to show. There are reports of weapons shortages and mass casualties as a result of Russian bombardment.
The Ukrainians have been mauled in Donbass.
When it comes to long-range firepower, Russia is outgunning Ukraine, firing an estimated 20,000 shells a day. Ukraine is firing less than a third of that. Western intelligence suggests Russia's stockpile could keep them going for years, but Ukraine's leadership remains defiant. They say that if you include police and security alongside the army, they have a 1 million-strong fighting force.
Ukraine will definitely win this war.
They insist they can repel the Russian advance, but Western military assistance is crucial.
We need hundreds of artillery pieces, of multiple launch rocket systems, HIMARS. We need more weaponry and quicker.
High mobility artillery rocket systems, or HIMARS, are top of the Ukrainian wish list. They're long range, high precision and mobile. It allows Ukraine to attack and then more easily evade Russian counterstrikes. Reports say Ukraine has already used them to hit targets deep inside Russian-held territory, levelling vital supply lines and ammunition depots. So far, Ukraine has received 8 HIMARS from the US, with 4 more pledged. Billions in weapons and aid have been promised from NATO powers, but promises are one thing. Getting the kit to the ground and training people to use it is another.
It takes time.
But what happens if NATO stockpiles themselves start to run low?
Now what we're looking at is Europe having a shortage of weapons.
According to a recent report, a year's worth of artillery shell production in the US would be used up in a matter of weeks in Ukraine. In war at this scale, the side able to keep their weapons loaded could prove decisive. For now, Ukraine is playing a game of cat and mouse, frustrating Russia and then taking up new positions.
They're following their orders, which is to make the Russians pay for every centimetre, every metre of territory, which is why this Donbass offensive has been so drawn out.
This slow progress can be best seen on a map of the war. Over a number of weeks, Russian troops seized key cities in the Luhansk region. But pull back and look at the whole theatre. This is the territorial change over the same period. Squint and you'll see it, because Russia only took an additional 0.3% of Ukraine's territory. Ukraine has made sure that this isn't the lightning-fast invasion Putin envisaged back in February.
The Russian armed forces are crawling very slowly across the Donbass.
But Russia are consolidating in the east. After Luhansk fell, Putin told his forces to regroup as they turned their attention to the next target.
The Donetsk region was always the more violent one. I would expect that there will be quite a thick level of Ukrainian defense.
Ukraine says it will attempt a major counterattack in the southern Kherson region in the hope of stretching Russian forces across a vast front line.
The key variable is whether the Ukrainian armed forces are capable of mounting successful counterattacks. Bottom line is, though, neither side thinks they've lost this war.
But both sides have their own definition of what victory looks like.
For Ukraine to really win, they want to evict the Russians from everywhere. And for Russia to really win, they want Zelensky out and probably to get back to Kiev. It's going to come down to whether any kind of meaningful peace negotiation can happen.
At the moment, there's no sign of a peace deal. Both sides say they're determined to win this war. The big question now is, will it be a decisive win for one side, or in fact, a messy peace?